Hey guys, so here we're gonna talk about sad moments in video games. A video that man was tough to put together. A lot of sad moments just kind of overwhelmed me. But I just want to warn you guys, it's gonna be spoilers. I talk about endings to certain games, all kind of stuff. So if you're one of those guys who gets triggered by that, you might want to turn away. Anyway, let's take a look. The first Suikoden game is definitely an RPG that most can get into. The game is around, I say, 10 or 11 hours long, so it's kind of like maybe a beginning RPG for folks. So this game takes place in the Scarlet Moon Empire, and the Scarlet Moon Empire is at a war with the Liberation Army, which is you. Your leader, Odessa, is going around the country searching for recruits to help with the army, but there's a certain scene where she's trying to save a child from being injured, and by doing so, she risks her own life. The sad thing about this scene is that, if people find out that she dies, the movement will die with her. As hard as the scene is to watch, you kind of understand what she's saying. She's telling you that you have to keep her death a secret, and she wants you to throw her body in the river so nobody finds out that she's dead. So during the game, you take her role, but you keep her death a secret. People are thinking that what you achieve in the game is her doing. Now, this scene is like almost within like the first 3 hours of the game, so it really hits you. You're like, wow, dude, like you already lost somebody. It's insane, and she's a good character to use too. But I was just shocked that she was gone. But I knew it was too good to be true because her stats are pretty high. But the first Suikoden game, characters can die, so just keep that in mind. I mean, most of them will die. Some of them can die during certain bad decisions, one-on-one fights. Some can just die in battle, and that'll be it for them. But it's just the game is like a roller coaster of emotions. Even with saying that, you guys will enjoy this game, even with its short length. It's definitely a great beginner RPG, and the story is really deep. Barry's death, Resident Evil. If you decide to not wait for Barry when he gives you the rope in the mansion, this scene will occur later in the game.
Hi, Jill. It's you.
Barry?
I'm really embarrassed to see you now. Just leave me. Go quickly.
It's over, Barry. Wesker's dead.
Is that so? Jill, will you do me a favor? This is my last wish. Please give this photo to my family. Will you?
Sure.
Forgive me, Jill. My God!
If you abandon Barry in the underground tunnel, this scene will happen.
I'm really embarrassed. I was clumsy.
Oh, you don't have to talk. I'm going to give you first aid.
Maybe my time's come. Jill, take this.
Barry's death scene in the underground tunnel. If you refuse to go with them and help him out, this scene will happen.
From the start, if you can forgive me, could you please give this to my family? And if you can, please try to protect them.
What do you mean by that, Barry? Don't give up.
Jill,
Be careful of that guy. Please. Stay alive.
I know Resident Evil, the first game, is known for its bad voice acting, but if these scenes didn't move you, you got no soul. Grandia is a coming-of-age story. It stars a boy named Justin and his friend Sue going on adventures. Now, these kids are pretty young. Justin's actually 14 years old, and Sue is around 8 years old. They befriend a lot of people on their journey. There's Gadwin, the swordsman, there's Fina, and a couple more friends that help you out during the game. But for one part, maybe halfway through the game, Sue gets really sick, and she collapses from exhaustion. The thing about Sue's character is she is very stubborn when it comes to what she wants. And it's not in a bad way or anything. It's just that she wants to stay with Justin on this adventure, but eventually she realizes that she can't keep up and she has to go home. The sad part is that she tries to hide it from everybody and tries to stay like she doesn't care. But towards the time when she's about to leave, she breaks down. It's a sad scene seeing her, you lose her character, but it's a happy scene at the same time, seeing her go back home. It was a very dramatic scene, and I remember seeing it, I was like, man, maybe my eyes watered just a little bit. I don't know. I don't really remember, but I just remember like, man, that was a touching scene. Very well played out, and it's one of the scenes I remember the most from Grandia. Grandia is a game where you will lose characters like you won't expect it. Like characters will just decide to leave or or do whatever. It's one of the first games that I played that actually did that, so I didn't know what to expect when you get further in the game, Most games you get your characters, they stick with you for the majority of the game, but Grandia is just not one of those games. I have to pretty much say the Grandia series is like that. But Sue, definitely out of all the Grandia games, her departure hits you the hardest. It's just really sad seeing her go. And though her character doesn't really power up like everybody else, it's like, man, the characters really come to light in the Grandia game, especially when they have sit downs and breaks and stuff like that. The characters really talk between each other. So it's just really sad to see her go, but hey, at least she's going to a good place. Dreamfall Chapters. It's actually a miracle this game exists. This is the third game from the Longest Journey series. The Longest Journey came out on the PC, and that was a point-and-click adventure. Then there was a sequel, a Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, the second game in the series. More of an adventure game, and that game had a cliffhanger ending. And now we have Dreamfall Chapters. Thankfully, this game came out because we were back in the day, we thought this game wasn't going to happen because the company just wasn't having it because the last game didn't sell well. But thankfully it was kickstarted and it's here. So what this game really does, it really concludes the story, which is nice. Any questions you had from the other games, at least I would say most questions are finally answered and resolved. So you want to know what makes this game sad? Well, it's really not any special moment in the game. I would honestly say it's the epilogue. The epilogue pretty much takes place years later, and some of your characters have passed on, and it's just kind of sad. There's one character that remains, and she's kind of remembering everybody. She goes around her little house and looks at pictures and just kind of reminisces. It's a really sad moment because everything is coming into full circle. I had a hard time going through the scene. It's really sad. It's finally coming to an end, and it really connects all the games together. A lot of games today don't really do that. They always leave questions, certain questions that need answering, and it lingers. I like a game that really tells you how it is, and this game does that. You find out what happens to everybody. They've moved on. They've had children. It's just an amazing feeling. I had a great time with this series, and over the years I've played it. I was kind of nervous that this third game wouldn't come out, but luckily it's here. And this next scene coming up, you'll understand when I'm talking about how everything comes into full circle. If you don't understand it, that's fine. I'm pretty sure someone will explain it in the comments below. But it just, like I said, everything comes into full closure.
Welcome, April Ryan.
All right, you know I had to add a Tales game on here. And there are two sad Tales games I know about, but I had to go with Tales of Berseria. Tales of Berseria is actually one of the darker out of the Tales game. It actually tells us a dark story. Now, you play the game as Velvet, and she's trying to protect her little brother, Laphicet. And it's the sad part is he gets sacrificed. You know, he ends up getting killed. And she tries to save him, but she ends up being cursed. Now, this pretty much happens within the first 20 minutes of the game, so it starts off like on a roller coaster. I think the creator of the Tales game wanted to do something different with the story in this one, and I think he achieved it. You know, a darker tone, it just kind of switches things up. In the other Tales games, there's conflicts going on, but nothing that's really like, I don't know, really a big deal in a way of thinking about it. I don't know, like something that really grabs you like this, you know. A sister trying to protect her brother, you can definitely feel for that, you know what I mean? Trying to protect the loved one. Good news is, though, it also plays like a Tales game, so you don't have to worry about that. All the tropes are here, you know, the special moves and all that good stuff, combo system, all the talking dialogue between characters, still here. So with the game full of sorrow, I'm pretty sure you're like, what moment can I be talking about that's really sad in this game? Well, it's tough. It's tough to kind of express this thing, but it's kind of like asking you guys, what do you think of it? I thought it was sad. Some people thought it was happy. Basically, towards the end of the game, in order for Velvet to kind of be with her brother and somewhat save him, they kind of have to devour each other. She's Daemon and he's a Nominat, and basically they end up in a dreamlike state where they dream, and you know, this bugs me because in their dream, it's like an eternal dream, but in their dream, they're meeting all their friends. They're living happy lives. And I don't know. I just think it's sad because it's not a reality, but maybe in a way it is a reality. I honestly really don't know, you know, and this ending just kind of left me just really sad, you know. You know, have you ever went to sleep, you had a really good dream, you know, and you're like, oh, I want some money, or I found a rare game. And you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And then you wake up. You have like this really sad feeling, you know, and I feel like, you know, like if they ever wake up from that, it's going to be horrible for them because they lived a lifetime in a dream. And now, oh God, it's just, I know it sounds confusing, guys, but I just thought it was sad, you know. Dreams are not reality, but then again, I guess they are. I mean, I don't know. This ending just really bugged me and made me sad, you know. All their friends went on to live happy lives and do whatever they did, but they're stuck in that just forever in that dreamlike state and until they wake up one day, I guess. And pretty much at the end of the game, it shows their life inside of the inside of the dream, how their friends are there and how happier times happen, no one died, stuff like that. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, and maybe I'll have another way of thinking about it. And next we have Suikoden II. Suikoden II, fantastic game. I mean, it blows the first game out of the water. An emotional roller coaster. Just a lot of cool things happen with this game. The battle system, the dialogue, the graphics, the music. Just everything really fits in this game. The story stars two friends. There's Joey and the other character who is nameless. I think he has a name in like a comic book or something like that, but I just named him Reggie, so so it wouldn't be confusing. Beginning of the game, though, you have to jump off a cliff because you're being pursued by some people who betrayed you. And to survive, that is the only exit you could take. And they take an oath on top of that hill before they jump that they'll meet there again someday, if they ever get separated. A lot of crazy stuff happens in this game. I mean, there's a lot of moments that are pretty sad, but I would honestly say that if you meet certain requirements in the game, there's a part where you can actually meet your friend again, and you meet him at the same spot, and you just kind of go over what's happened throughout the game, regrets, happiness, stuff that just happened between each other. He'll challenge you to a one-on-one battle. Now, you could fight him and beat him, or you could not fight him. Now, this other ending only occurs if you have 108 stars of destiny. That's all the people you need to recruit in the game. Some come automatically, some come by special means, special requirements that you have to do to get them. Now, we're going with the ending where you don't get all the stars of destiny. Most people who play through this game probably didn't get everybody the first playthrough. So, depending on your decisions, this will happen. Joey will collapse, and he'll ask you to take his ruin from him. He used a lot of power during one of the battles, and it's weakened his body. So it's kind of, basically it's draining his soul. So he's pretty much dying a miserable death. And basically you have to take his power from him to kind of like to give him release. And it's just really sad seeing him like Joey. Joey is a flawed character, but he's a good character. It's just kind of sad seeing him go, even though he's an enemy in the game. Now, he's not always your enemy. He just makes a decision, and he actually accidentally becomes your enemy. Like I said, it's just kind of sad seeing him give up the power, and he talks to you about your life and what he wants you to do and live your life. It's just kind of like heartfelt, and he's like, wow, man. It's a sad ending, but at the same time, it's a strong ending as well. But yeah, that's Joey for you. Most people today, when they think of Rule of Rose, they think of the rarest PS2 game, and they want to own it just for that reason. But for someone like me, I bought this game back in the day when it first came out. I was actually one of the people who was hoping that it was going to get ported to America. Luckily, it did. I believe they announced it at E3 2005 or 2006. It was like silently announced by Atlas. But finally got the game, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, the game is survival horror, but the only downfall about this game is the gameplay when it comes to like hit detection and stuff like that. Like you fight a boss or any kind of enemy, the hit detection is like really out of whack. So I recommend if you're going to play this game and enjoy it the first time, probably get the Game Shark and activate the gun so it'll be more playable. But other than that, Rule of Rose really starts off on Jennifer. She's an orphan, was an orphan, and it goes off her fragmented memories. Now, with most of these type of old school survival horror games, most of the story is going to be fleshed out through notes, cinematics as well, of course, but you might not understand it. But notes are mainly how you kind of flesh out the story of what's happening. My sad moment in this game comes during the epilogue. It's pretty much you go back to the past where you play as a young Jennifer. She goes around and remembers like certain spots where the kids used to play or draw at, and it's just really sad because like she only starts to remember them how they used to be towards the end, and you just go around visiting all the spots where the children used to hang out at. A tragedy happened where the children were murdered by a crazy neighbor, and he came in and shot the children, and only Jennifer was the only one that survived. You're probably thinking like, well, what happened to the adults? Why weren't they protecting the kids? Well, the adults happened to abandon the children, so they were all living in this orphanage by themselves, surviving. I don't know, man. It's just really sad thinking about it like that. You know what I mean? This probably really happened somewhere. Not kids getting shot in an orphanage, but just an orphanage being abandoned. It's just really sad. Yeah, so there's Rule of Rose for you. I'm happy that I went through this game, despite its flaws. It had a good story to it. The way the story ends, it is sad, but at the same time, at least there was one survivor. Gosh, when it comes to kids, man, you just do not want to see anything like this, man. It's like I have zero tolerance for this type of stuff. It was actually hard for me to go back and play through this game again, because of how I feel. And saying that, though, the good thing about this game is that when you go through the epilogue, most of it is you remembering the good times of what happened during the orphanage. XenoSaga III was one hell of a roller coaster. I mean, seriously, this game, like, man, when you get the third game, really messes with your emotions because you know it's the last game in the series. It was supposed to be 5, but thankfully they consolidated to 3 games. And man, I'm just telling you, everybody has a conclusion in this game, and it is so amazing. A lot of sad moments. I have a couple in particular, but of course, I'm only going to share one with you. I mean, it was a pick between Cosmos' awakening and between her and Telos and the other character, Shion's brother, Jin. Even though the scene with the Cosmos and Telos was amazing, and I was very sad and happy at the same time about some moments in it, I would have to say the next scene coming up is going to be the one that really got to me. It was between Shion and her brother Jin. They had a rocky relationship throughout the series, but this game really just kind of like forgives all that, and it's just a really sad moment. You know, he really tries to be a big brother to her, and you know, he just tries to do the right thing, and just when you're about to escape with him, you know, he knows he has to go back and help your other friends, and you know, even though he's scared to do it and he doesn't want to leave his sister, he knows that in his heart that's what he must do. You know, of course he wants to survive, of course, but he ends up getting into an epic battle, and ultimately, you know, he succumbs to some wounds, fatal wounds. But man, does he put up a hell of a fight. You know, it was amazing seeing him fight the way he did. And honestly, I didn't think he was going to get killed, you know what I mean? But it ends up happening, you know, too many people coming at you at once, hitting you from behind. It's just the way it goes. And just, it was epic seeing him in his last fight. And, you know, ultimately he fell, but you know, he did some good. Just an amazing scene. I'm getting a little watered up, like thinking about it right now, because I remember how I felt. But just an amazing scene for an amazing character.
It's quiet now, is what I sought. And yet, now that the time has finally come, I long for the noise of the past.
Valkyrie Profile has so many sad scenes. I mean, the game is really about life and death. And you find all this out within the first 10 minutes of the game. I mean, the game pulls no punches when it comes to messing with your emotions. And I was subject to that. Now, a lot of people don't know this about me. And this was pretty much from high school. I'm a hopeless romantic. You know, I love stories. A lot of RPGs, that's the reason I play them, you know, to find out what's going on with the love story in it. So with Valkyrie Profile, the thing is, there's 2 kids, Platina and Lucian. They both come from a poor village, and they're trying to escape that. They're both being abused by their parents. Platina abused, possibly being sold, and Lucian losing his younger sister, and she was sold. So they decide to escape together. But here's where the problem is. You know, I understand trying to escape a bad situation, but these kids have no idea where they're going. And they end up going to a forbidden land called the Weeping Lilies. Now, the problem with this place is that if you exhale the pollen, you will die from it. Platina decides that she just wants to let go, and she doesn't want to live anymore because she feels worthless because her parents have never showed her any kind of love throughout her life. Lucian does everything he can to try to convince her to stay with him, but ultimately she just lets go. So I wanted to show you my sad moment, but it's going to be 2 versions of it. First is going to be the PSP version, and then it's going to be the original version on the PlayStation.
May I ask a favor? Would you take off your helmet? I knew it. You look just like her.
That girl.
Yes, that girl, Platina. She inhaled the weeping lily pollen. It was my fault that she died. If I hadn't convinced her to run away with me, she would still be alive.
And you think that I resemble this girl?
I know! I know it's wrong to feel this way about a stranger, just because she looks like someone else. But that doesn't change the fact that I love her.
Your helmet. Could you take it off? I knew it. You look exactly like her.
Like that girl?
Yes. That girl Platina, she inhaled the weeping lily pollen and died. It was my fault if I hadn't brought her with me.
And I resemble this girl.
And that's why I know it's wrong to feel this way about a stranger just because she looks like someone else. But nothing has changed. I still love her.
What really moved me about that scene was the connection that they still had. Even after she had been reborn, there was still a connection between them, and it was really strong. Also in that scene together, they are departing each other again, so it just really makes it touching and sad. It's like the second time they had to lose each other after finding each other again, even though she doesn't remember him right away, but something about her still remembers him. The next scene, you already know this was coming. Aerith, or Eris, or whatever you want to call her, her death was a shock to me, seriously. When this event happened, I thought that she was just going to be hurt really bad, like out of your party for a while or whatever, you get her back later. But man, dude, if you see how the scene plays out, man, when you get to the last cinematic, man, you know for sure that she's not coming back. And it's a sad thing, too. The game kind of builds your relationship with Aerith up during the game, with certain situations, like there's the play situation at the Golden Saucer, the ride during that time. All this stuff is really nice, and it kind of just really, you look forward to them like coming together possibly at the end of the game, and the game kind of just swoops in and towards the end of the first disc and takes that away from you. When you see her materia like fall slowly, and I mean slowly, into the water below, and that music hits, man, you're like, oh man, it really hits you, and it's just a sad moment. And I remember how I felt as a teen seeing this, dude. I was like, dude, no way they're gonna take her away from us. And I was one of those guys that had Aerith in my party the whole time, and the game just kind of swoops in and just takes her away. I think what really upset me is the way Final Fantasy VII ended the original game. I didn't think it really did the characters justice, and a 500 years later type scenario. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyways, sad to see Aerith go. Another sad moment for me. Still sad to this day, and probably sad for you guys that are watching this. Oh gosh. So for those of you that have played the Klonoa games, the first Klonoa game is considered to have one of the saddest video game endings of all time. But I always debated against that, honestly. And I thought that Klonoa II had one of the saddest endings, at least in that series, and I'll explain why. The second game actually takes place in an undisclosed amount of time after the first one. I don't know, but we definitely know that Klonoa has gotten older. He goes on a second adventure, saves the day, usual stuff. But the thing about this ending is that Klonoa actually accepts that he's a dream traveler, which is something he couldn't do in the first game. And I thought that moment was a sad moment because, you know, yeah, when you hear Klonoa talk and the other characters in the game, they're pretty much children. But during the event at the end of the game, you know, Lolo, his friend, is trying to be strong about saying goodbye to him, but she can't hold it in, and she starts to cry. And it's just, you know, she hugs Klonoa. It's just a really sad moment. Be honest, looking back at this scene, what makes it even sadder is that this game has never gotten a proper sequel. It's gotten spin-offs that are great, which I'll probably talk about in another video, but you look forward to seeing where Klonoa ends up next, and that doesn't happen. But still, going back to this ending, very sad moment between the two. I mean, because from what I've seen in the Klonoa games, when Klonoa leaves a world, I mean, he doesn't come back. I mean, he's gone on to the next world, so he's pretty much saying goodbye forever, which is just really sad in itself. But anyways, I could be wrong to some of you guys. You know, maybe you guys still feel that Klonoa, the first game, had a much more sadder ending. You know, it's just, I felt like this one was just like hit home for me. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. You know, I just thought this was a strong moment in the game. And it's another sad thing. I know I always say sad things, but it's like this game didn't really sell well, so a lot of people don't even know, still don't even to this day don't even know about the Klonoa series, which is even sadder. So that's a couple sad moments for Klonoa. Brave Story, The New Traveler. Wow, I had such a good time playing this game back in the day. One of the first RPGs I beat on the PSP system. So not a lot of people know about this game. A total hidden gem. Hopefully, if you have a PSP, you'll definitely get this game. But the sad moment in this game is pretty much towards the end of the game, and it came really unexpected to me, which was funny. One of your characters, you know, she's the first character you meet in the game, and she's pretty cool. Good character to have in your party. She seems to like your character a lot, but you know, you don't know if whether it's like a girlfriend type way or maybe a big sister type way until the end of the game. But during one of the last battles, you find your way home and you're saying goodbye to everybody pretty much. You know, all the friends you met on your journey, you know, it's come to an end. And really what's crazy is that you find out that once you leave, you could never come back. So you'll never see them again. So it's like, man, you know, what the heck? And it comes unexpected because you think you go to the main map, visit characters again or whatever, but it's time to go. So anyways, towards the end, like I said, you say goodbye to everybody, take one last look. But that's not the sad moment, man. The sad moment, and it really was a shocker to me. Is that she breaks down and starts crying, and it's like the way the whole scene transitions. I'm just gonna let you guys see it right now. It's pretty insane. It made me cry a little bit, just a little bit, and it definitely had a lasting impact on me after playing this game. All right, so the next game is The Last of Us. I really enjoyed this game. A lot of fun, but oh gosh, does it have some moments in it. And one of the most powerful moments, and probably one of the most saddest moments in video game history, is the beginning of the game when Joel and his daughter are trying to escape the city from the outbreak, because there's an outbreak that's happening and it's turning people into these crazed lunatics that are attacking everybody. He almost makes it out of the quarantine zone, but they run into a soldier, and the soldier decides that he has to take them out because they're perceived a threat. And the sad part is Joel's trying to protect his daughter till the end, but even though he does that, she's the one that ends up taking the damage. I mean, she gets shot. And it's a horrible moment because, you know, they don't show it right away, but when you finally look over at the characters looking over at her, you know that something's wrong, and it's just, it's gut-wrenching. I mean, seriously, if you could watch this scene without dropping a tear, I mean, you got no soul. Simple as that. You see this father doing everything he can to save his daughter. It's just sad because there's nothing he could do. They're in a dire situation. There's no help, and he ends up losing her. And, you know, this pretty much shapes up Joel's character for the rest of the game. The game has a time jump, and just by looking at Joel, when you see the time jump happen when you start playing as him again, you can see the damage on him. It's just how it's taking its toll on him, and it's just sad. It's this really sad scene. I'll never forget it. But all right, guys, we are about to move on to the last one of this sad video, and wow, this next one might be a surprise to all of you. Metal Gear Solid 4, my favorite Metal Gear game of the series, and I just thought this game has so many phenomenal moments, lots of sad moments, especially coming towards the end of the game, of course. But I thought one of the saddest moments was the meeting of Big Boss and Snake. I thought that was a total surprise and such an awesome scene between father and son, even though it's kind of weird at first because they don't know whether they should hug it out or kill each other. But I mean, this scene was it was sad to me, but it was like a happy type of sad, you know. Metal Gear Solid really is a game that really just really moved me. And it went out like it should have. It had a closed ending. It was just a fantastic game. There's lots of moments in this game, but this moment was just sad for me because it was just sad seeing this game come to an end. I mean, seriously, saying goodbye to Solid Snake after all this time, you know, it's just like, wow, I can't believe this happening. And Hideo Kojima really like made it fulfilling and awesome. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this sad moments. I don't know if I want to do any more videos like this, but anyways, check me out later, guys. See ya.